Okay, bite from this is potentially lethal. Things are about to get dangerous. That is one big funnel web spider right there. Just bit the pipette. You can feel the power in that strike.
Australia is arguably the most dangerous continent in the world. I'm sure that as your imagination begins to run wild, you are likely thinking about being snatched from a river's edge and eaten alive by a giant saltwater crocodile. Or perhaps you are envisioning how terrifying it would be if you were to stumble upon and be bitten by one of its incredibly venomous snakes, like the eastern brown. However, it's not only the reptiles that you need to be weary of. Tonight we are exploring just outside of Sydney, the most densely populated city in Australia, which also happens to be home to the world's deadliest spider, the Sydney funnel web. Armed with a set of massive fangs and an incredibly toxic venom, just a single bite from this spider has the ability to kill a human. Sounds terrifying, yet these spiders are rather elusive and tend to avoid humans at all cost. In fact, they can be rather difficult to find, as building their silk-lined, funnel-shaped burrows under rocks or in rotting logs keeps them hidden and out of sight.
Ooh, covered in ants. Watch out for that. Let's go on the backside of this tree. There's some logs to flip over here.
So unless you are like me and are flipping over debris in the environment, your odds of encountering one are pretty unlikely.
You ready? Lift this up. Oh, spider! Huge spider! Right there, right there, right there, right there.
Is that a tarantula?
No. I think that's a funnel web spider. Right there, just came out from underneath that log. Look at its abdomen right there. Holy cow. That's definitely a funnel web spider. Hold on, I need to get in this container. Oh my gosh, did you see that? It's a good thing I picked up the log from the other side. It was just burrowed right underneath there.
That's a tiny container, dude. That looks too big to be a funnel web.
No, it definitely is. Look at the front of its body.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that spider's so big I don't think it's gonna fit in this container. Mario, you have that bigger jar?
Yeah, I think I might have one in my backpack. Hang on.
Let me see if I can peel back some of these grasses.
It looks like a tarantula, but I...
Ooh, it's moving, hurry up! Okay, bite from this is potentially lethal. I'm just gonna set that down and see if I can coax it. I'm gonna try to coax it right into the container. Now they cannot jump, but they will lunge forward. It's in there. There we go. Wow! Look at that.
Oh yeah.
That is 100% a funnel web spider.
That is a big one.
Wow. We cannot miss getting this up close for the cameras. Okay, let me grab my bag and let's head up to those rocks. Wow! That is without question a funnel web spider. The question that remains is, what species is it? I want to find a good flat open rock.
How about that one right there?
This?
Yeah, that looks
that's
pretty. Or that one. Is that better?
Yeah, that's a little bit better. Let's see if it'll just sit on top of the rock surface like this.
Yeah, I like this. This is good.
Wow.
Yeah, let's have a look.
That is intimidating. It does. It looks like a tarantula. I know you said, is it a tarantula? You sure it's a funnel web spider? 100% certain it's a funnel web spider. One of the ways that you can identify this species as such is they have a very bald cephalothorax. Now they do have hairs on their legs and on the abdomen, but that is how you can recognize a funnel web spider. And that's the perfect sort of place to find them, underneath logs where they can wait in ambush for their prey. Now they will also obviously be inside of burrows with those little funnel web systems. And whoa, am I glad that I picked up the log from the end that I did. Now my fingers didn't tuck underneath the log. I was on the top side, and that's why you always pick up a log from an area that you can see, because if you tuck your fingers underneath, you grapple onto that spider and you take a bite, you are on your way to the hospital without question. Okay, now I know it's probably kind of tough to see it inside of this container, so let me see if I can take it out and place it on the rock here, and let's get some shots with it. You ready for that?
Okay, let me help the guys break out the lights real quick.
Okay, yeah, we're losing light here. All right, guys, we have the lights set up now, and in the lights, the spider is even more intimidating looking. You can see the sheen on the legs and the cephalothorax. It's already cast a little bit of webbing inside the container there. And I think if you guys are ready, let's take it out of the container and see if it will just hold its ground here on the rock. Now, this is an extremely aggressive spider species, and oftentimes they won't run, but what they will do is rear up and show you those fangs and those front legs. Okay.
Yeah, we have to be very cautious.
Yeah, I'm gonna just gently tilt this down like this, and let's see if it will crawl out and just stop right there. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can get it to stay still. Oh, you stay. Actually, maybe I'll do this. It seems to be more comfortable inside the container.
Yeah, that works for me. How about you, Morgan?
Okay, it's just such a dangerous spider. I mean, even more so than a wandering spider. Oh, okay.
Easy.
Look at those hooked legs, allowing it to hold onto the edge of the container. Let me see if I do this. Maybe if I put the container over top of it and give it just a second to stay right there. Now, one reason that the bite is so bad is that because when they bite, their fangs are so long, they actually will hook into you, hold on, and continue to pump venom. And it's not like a black widow or a redback spider where they might give you a warning bite. A bite from this spider species is full on as much venom as I can inject. Okay, let's try this. Everybody got a decent shot on the spider? There you have it. Wow. And just for scale, look at how big that spider is next to my hand. Not taking my eyes off of the arachnid. That is definitely as close as I feel like I can get. All right, Mark, let's try this. I'm gonna try to present it from just its still position right there. And like all spider species, you see those very defined 8 legs, but they also have very long pedipalps up front, and that helps them to grapple onto their prey. And when they rear up, they show those fangs, and their fangs are incredibly long. Longer in some cases than even some of the snake species here in Australia. Now, one of the reasons that this spider is considered so dangerous is because they can oftentimes be found in residential areas. The Sydney funnel web specifically is oftentimes found right in people's backyards. That's why they tell you if you're out there working in the garden, make sure you have on gloves. You can be tilling up dirt, accidentally grab one of these things, it bites you on the tip of the finger, and you may be seeing symptoms in as few as 15 minutes. Now, the immediate bite, you're definitely going to notice. The fangs are long enough to draw blood, but immediately you will feel throbbing in your finger, and shortly after you'll start to feel a tingling in your mouth and lips. Now, if you are bitten by one of these spiders, you want to apply compression to the entire arm. So let's say you're bitten on the tip of your finger, put compression straps up the length of your arm. That will help slow the movement of the venom into your body. Wow, that is impressive. Now, there are around 40 recognized species of funnel web spider, with one of the most dangerous being the Sydney funnel web. And I can't identify exactly if this is a Sydney or not, but what we do want to do is actually take this spider back with us into civilization. Where we want to go is the Australian Reptile Park. It's moving. The Australian Reptile Park is the one place in Australia where they actually extract venom from these spiders and then in turn build an anti-venom for people that are bitten. So this spider that we found right here might actually be used to save some lives. How cool is that?
Awesome.
All right, we are taking this spider to the Australian Reptile Park. Wow, what a find.
Australia is home to a collection of dangerous arachnids, from the redback to the huntsman, and ultimately the funnel web. This beautiful continent is crawling with venomous spiders. Catching a funnel web spider is something I had always hoped to do, and now with one in my possession, it was time that the crew and I headed to the Australian Reptile Park. Famous for being the only sanctuary of its type in Australia, they are renowned for their spider and snake venom milking program. Established in 1948, the Australian Reptile Park and Wildlife Sanctuary is regarded as one of the country's premier animal attractions. Considered a hands-on learning facility, they are home to a countless number of animal species, including Tasmanian devils and even one incredibly friendly Komodo dragon. And while their animal attractions have made them a world-renowned place to visit, it is actually their commitment to saving human lives that brings the crew and I knocking at their laboratory door.
Hi,
Hey, how you going?
you must be Kane.
That's correct.
Hi, Kane. I am Coyote. I will let you finish playing with whatever you're playing with there. What is that?
Just feeding a little redback.
Oh, redback. Okay, cool. We did an episode on redbacks, but I brought you something a little more intimidating. I'm pretty sure we have a Sydney funnel web spider.
Excellent, my favorite. Let me have a
Yeah,
look.
take a look. I
Check
know
it
there are
out.
various different species, but we caught that one last night.
Local to this area?
Yes,
Local to
about
here?
30 minutes from here.
Excellent.
Oh, look how big
Yep,
it is.
It is a very large specimen you've brought me. I'm very happy with that.
Okay.
It is a Sydney funnel web. That's the good news. It is definitely a Sydney funnel web.
Is it a male? That's the big question.
It is not.
Oh, not a male.
No.
So this is not the venom gold that you guys are searching for.
No, it is the males. We use their venom to make the anti-venom. This is a female.
Okay, I was really hoping that we were going to get to milk a spider today. Now, do you guys milk the females for
Yeah,
anything?
we do. We definitely
you do?
milk the females, yeah.
Can we milk this spider?
We can definitely milk this spider.
Great, so the venom does still have a value of some sort.
It definitely does. We send the venom away for different research laboratories to look into the venom.
Oh, sweet. Okay, well, we're still going to get to milk a spider, and that's exactly what we wanted. Now, can I actually milk the spider?
I will definitely let you milk that spider.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, well, why don't we do this? Do you have another spider that you can show me how to milk it? I don't know, different species or something like that. I don't really trust myself trying to milk it for the first time.
Now, funnel webs, they love to defend themselves vigorously. So if you do touch one, as you might find out, they will stand up. They will defend themselves.
Is this a male?
This is a female as well. This is a younger female,
Okay, wow, lots smaller.
a lot smaller.
So what's the big difference for anybody out there watching between the males and the females? Because I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, well, with tarantulas, the females are always girthier and heavier than the males. I guess that's the same way with the funnel webs. If I were to look at that, I would think, okay, that's definitely a male as compared to this.
Now, the large abdomen at the back is definitely one way to tell. The abdomen size compared to the head size is one way to tell the female, and the thicker legs.
Okay.
So the smaller of the two would be the male.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it is the male that has the most potent venom and the one that is extremely dangerous.
Definitely.
But a bite from a female, this wouldn't have actually killed me last night.
Most likely wouldn't kill you. Unless you're unhealthy or something, it's not going to do you a whole lot of damage.
Okay.
But we have to treat every bite as a potentially life-threatening bite.
Okay, so getting into milking.
Yes.
How does this process work? Mark, you got an okay shot there?
Yep.
So what will happen, we've got a little vacuum hose going down to a little pump down there. We don't want to have too much suction and suck the whole spider in, but just touching them, you can see they stem. You can actually see the drops of venom on the tips of the fangs. And that's what we want. We want to get that venom from those fangs into the pipette. So when she stands up, you can see she's very, very aggressive there, pushing in some venom. We just draw the pipette down the tips of the fangs. They are hollow just like a hypodermic syringe. And by drawing that down as she's producing that venom, we're just sucking it up into the tip of this pipette.
Now, how many of the males do you need to milk before you get an actual vial of venom you can build an anti-venom from?
We look at having about 250 to 400 males in any 1 year that we will have to milk every single day right through the year to keep up with the quota we need to give to the Commonwealth Serum Laboratories.
And in your opinion, would you say this is the most dangerous spider in the world?
Definitely, definitely. You
Okay.
really do not want to get bitten by one of these. The good thing we have in Australia is the Reptile Park produces the venom to make the anti-venom. Since the anti-venom came out in 1981, we've had no deaths attributed to a funnel web spider bite. So
Really?
It's very good.
Okay, so the research is working, the anti-venom is working, but how many people would you say are bitten every year? Because this is an extremely common species that's found in suburban areas.
Definitely. We have a lot of people and a lot of conflict with the funnel web spiders in the area. There's about 5 people every year that require a serious amount of antivenom. There are also bites that do present to hospital that don't have a severe envenomation.
Right.
And then may not require antivenom. It's always a last resort, the antivenom.
Okay, now the spider that we caught last night is a female, and fortunately I was not bitten, but if I was, what would I have wanted to do in that instance?
First thing you want to do is a full compression bandage on the area you've been bitten.
Okay.
If that was on your hand, any bracelets, rings, watches, jewelry has to come off straight away. Because
So
it
this
will
would have been
swell.
problematic.
Definitely take it off. It
Okay.
will swell up straight away.
Let's say I was bitten on the tip of my finger.
Basically what we're going to go with a bite is you want to go around the bite site first of all.
Okay.
These bandages are great. They're going to tell us the correct tension to put it on. When they form a square, we know that they're going the right tension to restrict the flow of the venom. You go around the bite site. And then what you're going to do, because it's at the fingertip, we're going to go the whole limb. We don't stop at the wrist. We don't stop at the elbow. We go as far up as the bandage will allow us. Now that pressure, you can feel that's pretty tight.
Oh yeah, I feel like a mummy.
What the idea is it's restricting the flow of that venom going through your lymphatic system. We want to restrict that flow, and hopefully the venom will neutralize itself down here and not right through your body.
Okay.
Once you've got that on there, you're going to stay still. If you've got a button-up shirt or a sling, you put that on, and you want to get to hospital as soon as possible. Okay. Calling an ambulance or getting someone to drive you. You don't want to try and drive a vehicle yourself while you are bitten.
Yeah, I can certainly feel that it is providing quite a bit of pressure to my arm.
Yep.
Now, like I said, as we all know, I was not bitten, but here's the million-dollar question. Have you ever been bitten?
I've never been bitten by any spiders, luckily.
Really?
So no
wow,
spiders.
so you're extra careful when you're working with these
Definitely
spiders.
have to be extra careful working with
Yeah, well, when we were filming last night, I'll tell you what, I was nervous to be around that spider. This is good to know. I mean, it sounds like this is something that everybody should have in their first aid kit here in Australia.
Definitely in Australia. Venomous snakes around the world differ in different areas you wouldn't. In Australia, with our elapids, we need this same bandage will work on any of our venomous snakes as well as our funnel web spiders.
All right, well, let's take this off my arm. I've seen you milk a spider. I think if you guys are ready, I am ready to milk the Sydney funnel web. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great. I'll put this little one away.
Things are about to get dangerous. Oh boy, here we go. I'm just gonna gently coax her out. There she is. That is one big funnel web spider right there. All right, I'm going to reach over here to grab the pipette. It's coming off of its clip. Here we go. Oh, wow, look at that. Wow. Okay, you can already see the venom coming off the tips of the fangs. And what Kane said is that I actually want to just kind of turn her a little bit.
So if you touch her back leg on this side, she'll turn to face the pipette.
Got it.
Going in with the pipette. Okay. And my hand is shaking. Just gently taking that venom off the edge of the fangs. Wow, there we go. Okay, there's definitely venom there inside the pipette. We get her to rear up a second time, and she will just keep producing venom, right, Kane?
Yeah, that's correct. Even once you've got her up like that with the legs up, a gentle blow right towards those fangs will sometimes get her to push some more out for you. That's it. Just draw down the fangs.
Oh,
Yeah.
just bit the pipette. You can feel the power in that strike. Okay, I think that's all the venom she has to give, and you know, it's not as much as I thought was going to come out of there. I could see why you guys have to milk so many of these spiders to build up a vial to create that anti-venom.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as much as you're going to get from one of our venomous snakes in Australia, but it does show you how potent it is. It's only a little amount that does a lot of damage.
Okay, now what do I want to do with this?
We'll put the pipette back safely over here.
Okay, I'll hand
I'll
that
take
to
that
you.
for you.
I'm going to just put this little capsule back over her for safety's sake.
Excellent.
There you go. Wow. Whew, that was nerve-wracking. And you do this every day, don't you?
Every day. I love it.
Wow. Well, this was so cool. Thank you so much for letting me milk
Not a problem at all.
a funnel web
Appreciate
spider.
it.
Now, it wasn't a male. It was only female, but that doesn't matter. The venom is still of value. Now, for everybody out there watching, if you come across one of these spiders, try to safely catch it and bring it here to the
Definitely.
Australian Reptile Park, because this is the only place that...
Milks funnel webs for the production of anti-venom in Australia.
That's right, guys. So if you bring one here, there is the chance that you're going to save a life. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave. Stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure.
The Australian Reptile Park is the only sanctuary of its type in Australia that has a spider and snake venom milking program. And the good news is that their anti-venom creation has been saving thousands of lives for over 50 years. If you encounter a snake or a spider while exploring in Australia and admire the animal from a safe distance, your odds of being bitten are very unlikely. However, unexpected bites do occur, and if you find yourself in this worst-case scenario, make sure to stay calm and seek medical treatment immediately.